We have some big news out of Microsoft today. There's actually a ton going on. New things with their Microsoft Copilot that they have released, new 360 stuff. There's a ton going on, including nuclear power plants, which Connor has told me I'm not allowed to spend the entire
No,
episode talking about, and
I
it's
can't
so
wait to hear
cool.
this.
I'm going to force you all to listen to me about it. But there is some great things that will help you all work better. So we're going to talk about that as well. And Microsoft raising $100 billion fund to do, you guessed it, nuclear power plants. We're going to get into that later. Connor, tell us about the actual useful information for our people before I go off on my power plant rampage. But yeah, what's going on with 360?
Okay, so first of all, Jaeden has like 5 podcasts. Guys, I don't know if you know, Jaeden is the podcast master. His growth hacks are insane. This is why he has like 4 million downloads on his podcast. His strategies are absolutely Looney Tunes. He's the mad scientist. So before you do anything else, go to his site and check out his course for how a growth hacking podcast and things like that. If you have any interest in podcasting, this is the only source. I'm not just saying that because it's my buddy and Copilot here, but he's unbelievable on that. Okay, Microsoft, here's the thing. Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, look, let's be honest. We've gotten some mixed reviews on this, people, right? Sort of like people, a lot of folks I've talked to who are using Copilot are like, it's kind of useful. But here's the thing about Copilot. It is sort of integrating AI almost invisibly into it. So that's why I didn't understand why they have the keyboard with the AI key on it saying use AI, because really it's using AI to enhance the features of things we use all the time. Now, I'm all for that. But it goes a little bit against how I do a lot of training and stuff like that on generative AI. I like to think of it as really a full augmentation of your brain. However, it is amazing just in terms of pure use cases if they are coming out with a Copilot that's even more useful, because I think a lot of people are jaded. So they're calling it Wave 2. And essentially this is just AI, features, updates, things like that. So I'll just go through a few of these. Jaeden, let me know what you think about these.
Yeah.
So first of all, and I just want to read it exactly from this. Microsoft introduced Copilot Pages, collaborative workspace, blah, blah, blah. So this is the thing. It's this what they call a persistent canvas for multiplayer AI collaboration. It allows users together to edit and add to and all that kind of stuff. And essentially, it's this sort of real-time collaboration between team members and Copilot. So I think that's huge. That's definitely the future. Google does this really, really well already, and ChatGPT is entering this sphere with Teams and everything like that. If Copilot can can really enable that and really enhance that for people, this collaboration, that's going to be huge. But specifically to the apps that we know and love, the biggest one to me is the one in Excel. So if you have used Code Interpreter, I don't know if it's still called Code Interpreter, but that is one of the things that I tend to blow people away on when I do demonstrations. Drag and drop a spreadsheet into ChatGPT and watch it go to town doing incredible data analysis. They are starting to integrate that into Excel. So the integration of Python, because essentially all it does is it runs Python code in the background, and it does this advanced data analytics, which is essentially, I think, what they call Code Interpreter now. But it's support for more formulas, conditional formatting, all that kind of stuff. So that's huge. If it can do what you've been used to it doing, for those of you who are using this Code Interpreter on ChatGPT. By the way, if you haven't, guys, drag and drop a spreadsheet, as long as it's not proprietary data, into the ChatGPT context window and ask. You don't even need to know what to ask it. Just say, hey, what's interesting about this data? That's amazing. If they can do that in Excel, that's huge. Teams, right? Sort of like we all use Teams, summarization of the text chats and spoken discussions. That's already been kind of going, but it's getting better and better. PowerPoint upgraded, and this is huge. From the beginning, Jaeden, you and I know this. People have been saying, I just need to build a PowerPoint deck. Can it help me do that? I've heard that from day one, since 3.5 was out.
Yep.
It's never been good. Now it's better, right? It's upgrading this narrative builder for faster sort of initial drafting and company specific templates, all that kind of stuff. But the really big thing is if it can build a narrative, that's how you want to build PowerPoints. I think they're actually starting to crack the code on that. There's other stuff with Outlook, Word, OneDrive, but those are some of the things I'm excited about. We can go into the agents, but this just feels like something people are going to use every day. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, so I'm all on board with like pretty much any of the new features that are just useful. It makes like tools that we already use better. So I do like the PowerPoint stuff. I will say, I think Microsoft obviously is incentivized to hype up its AI a little bit, get the stock price going, get everything going, make it feel more innovative, make it so more companies want to switch to them. And so I do feel like sometimes when they do these releases, this one in particular, they just, I don't know, they do things that I feel like are a little bit like, okay, is that really AI, or is that just like what
Exactly.
years ago
Exactly.
you would have just called the software update and now we're calling it AI because it
Exactly.
sounds extra cool? One of those, case in point, is, and not to say this is an amazing feature. These are all great features. I just, sometimes the branding on it just drives me crazy. But anyways, there's this one in particular where they're integrating Copilot into Outlook, right, into your emails pretty much. And it
Yeah.
says that they're going to start allowing their AI assistant to organize your inbox. There's going to be a new it's going to be called Prioritize My Inbox feature, but essentially it lets Copilot automatically prioritize your emails. Later this year, apparently, you're also going to be able to teach Copilot specific topics, keywords, or people that are important to you, and it'll be able to prioritize your inbox by that. It sounds cool, but at the same time, like, my Gmail has been doing this for years where, like, I don't know
Right.
why, but sometimes it just organizes has priorities organization on my inbox. And it's true. It's like, oh, gee, like, this email really is important. Of the 10 emails I got today, they put it at the top, even though it wasn't in like sequential order of like when it was sent. And I actually have disabled all of these things on Gmail because I just want to be able to see everything as it came in.
Yep.
I actually don't even have folders on my Gmail, like the promotions tab or the other tab, or like how Gmail
Hmm.
has like all the
Hmm.
tabs.
Hmm.
I've like nuked all the tabs. They all come into just one giant folder, and it's
Yep.
forcing me to unsubscribe from everything I hate. So, anyways, that's just
Yeah.
me.
Not a bad approach. Yeah. Yeah. Not a bad approach.
But in any case, I do think it's a cool feature. Teach it whatever is important to you or whatever. But at the same time, it's like Gmail is fully capable and has been doing that for a long time. So it's like, is this just like, oh, and I'm sure they use AI for it, but it's just like, oh, it's just like a cool software thing that it just does, makes your life better. Is like Copilot adding AI
I
to
know. I know.
optimize, teach your AI, teach your
I know.
Copilot what's important to you. It's like,
Yep.
come on, I can figure this out. This is like my boss that always messages me yelling about the deadline. That's obviously the most important thing. These other things, not so important. These cold outreach spam, like, stick that in another folder or stick it at the bottom of the folder. So,
No, but
anyways,
this, I'm with you. Keep going. But this is the thing. Like how you describe this is exactly right to me. Is this really AI or is this a new feature? That's why the AI button on the keyboard drove me nuts. Like generative AI and how this is going to really augment the way we think and work is it's the whole thing of like you can do anything with it. This is just, oh my gosh, this is going to help me do Excel better. That's great. It's awesome. It drives productivity. But I don't want us to kind of think about that as AI, exactly to your point. You know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. Overall, though, I'm like all on board with making these new feature improvements. And if this is the way that they get everyone to know about the
Right.
features,
Right.
great. Because as we all know, companies can spin out features and send them out into the ether. And if no one knows them and no one uses them, they're never going to get used. I think Apple is like the perfect example of a company that absolutely crushes this because they do their keynotes every year. And every little tiny feature and upgrade that's going to happen on the iPhone because it's 0.001 millimeters thinner, because they just have this
Right.
whole keynote and every single little feature that's updated. And like what's new happening on the Android phones, like, I don't know. And I know they do their own keynotes, but it just seems like it's not as hyped and talked about, and it's not this big huge movement and moment. So I think Microsoft has caught a little bit of lightning in the bottle by getting on early with OpenAI and just being kind of the first company that has pushed the AI stuff really hard. Google's
Yep.
crushing it right now in so many levels on AI, but
I
I
know.
think up until recently they have not had the megaphone or the optics or just the same PR because they weren't the first on it like Microsoft. So Microsoft capitalizing on that right now with all this new Copilot stuff. I salute them. Google seems to be doing a little bit better now that we have our buddy Logan Kilpatrick over there. He's kind of crushing it, and I think helping them get the word out about a lot of new features. But yeah, overall, it's like
Uh,
sort of skeptical on like if we need to call it AI, but if that's how you tell
no,
people about it,
I agree, and the Google was kind of getting crushed a little bit in the information too, and I felt bad. They even quoted Logan in there, but people aren't recognizing that Google is just, and we should do a whole thing on Google and what they're doing because they are churning out unbelievable things. This article is really about whether developers are moving over there or not, but also Google is sort of like a victim of its own success in that everybody expected amazing things, and Microsoft of all companies came out of the gate faster.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say on that is just remember again that if you are in a company, if you are a leader in a company, your AI strategy cannot be, let's use Copilot. Copilot is just a series of features. Your AI strategy has to be behavioral based. It has to be getting everybody to understand better how to present their problems, how to bring generative AI into everything they are doing. And that's wildly different. Jaeden, I cannot let us go today without looking over the article that you sent me in preparation for this thing about Microsoft and 3 Mile Island. Microsoft has signed, apparently. This is what Jaeden sent me, guys. I'm not lying. And it's not from nowhere, right? It's from, it was a TechCrunch, I think, right?
Yep.
Deal with Constellation Energy to restart the closed 3 Mile Island nuclear plant by 2028. Jaeden, this is an unbelievable story. What do we need to know about this?
I'm happy you brought it up, because if you're about to close out the podcast, I was going to
No, never,
hijack it
never.
and force everyone to listen to my bonus segment on nuclear energy. This is crazy. So we've been talking about nuclear energy. There's no way AI can scale without it in the future. And so Sam Altman, he's funded a bunch of nuclear fusion, blah, blah, blah. Some people think that we need like some big new physics breakthrough to really make nuclear fusion realistic. I don't know everything about nuclear fusion, so all I really care about is, well, we already have nuclear power plants, so we've sort of figured this out for a long time. This is nothing new. Let's just scale this up. China's doing it right now. They've approved dozens of new nuclear plants. I think the United States should do it, and I think there's a lot of pushes for this to happen. So, case in point, though, there's this nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania. This thing was shut down in 2019. Microsoft has just signed a deal. They're going to pay, or I think Constellation Energy is going to do this, but however it works with the Microsoft deal, they're going to spend $1.6 billion to get this thing back online, because Microsoft said they need it for their AI initiatives. They don't have enough energy. And what's interesting is Microsoft said that their goal is by, I believe, 2030 to have all of their data centers running on green energy. But they said that everything happening in AI is seriously hindering that goal, because they just need energy, and they're not going to get it. They don't have enough solar panels and wind farms to fuel all of this insane spike in energy that they need. Nuclear fits the bill as far as being classified as green energy, so they're just going to go hard on this. I think this is amazing. This plant is located right next to TMI Unit 2, which infamously melted down back in 1979. So all sorts of exciting things. But I do think this is awesome. I think we'll have more safety things in place. We'll figure out some of those. I think we've figured out a lot of those issues. The plant is going to create 3,400 or indirect or direct jobs. You know how it kind of works. It's like not just the people they hire, but like when all the people they hire make a lot of money, then all the stores around make more money and whatever. And the supply chain for it. So a lot of indirect jobs. About $16 billion is going to be added to Pennsylvania's GDP, and it's going to create about $3 billion in state and federal taxes. This is awesome. I am all over this. I'm super excited. The funny thing is, this thing is pending regulatory approval, is hoping to get back online by 2028. So this isn't something that's going to like immediately happen. They're going to spend like $1.5 billion in the next 4 years with regulatory approval and all that kind of stuff to try to get this thing back online. But I think it really just goes to show how much energy we need to run these AI tools. And when Connor and I come on here and talk about, all the cool new Copilot AI features, like none of this stuff is possible without an insane spike in consumption of energy. And if we want to be, responsible with it or whatever, nuclear, in my opinion, is a beautiful way to go. So I'm excited to.
It is. And just one last thing on that before you can close this out. Like essentially, like, first of all, on AI Play, we just want to give you things to say at parties sometimes. Like, that's just a cool thing to say. Like, hey, do you know Microsoft is like basically buying 3 Mile Island, which everybody thinks is nuclear meltdown. And yeah, this is coming. Energy is going to be the big thing. So first of all, they're making these models more efficient. And secondly, they're going to need new sources of energy. I got to admit, Jaeden, I was skeptical. I love this story. It was really, really cool. Good find on that.
Hey, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning into the podcast today. If you haven't already, you absolutely need, it's not even a want, this is a need at this point, to get Connor's generative AI course. This is something that will change your life, change the way that you use AI. He made this thing super fun, super cool. It's an amazing price. I'm blown away that he made it so cheap, but you can check out the link in the description to Connor's generative AI course. Get the certification on this thing, post it on your LinkedIn. This is going to look amazing to future employers. This is going to teach you a ton of amazing skills. This is something that I think everyone should be doing. Anyways, hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and we will catch you all next time.